And so you think the Cherry Blossom Festival is a big deal here in Washington. These are the people that have showed up here. Of course, people will be here all summer, all spring and summer. It's not like they're only here for this, but the crowds won't be anything like this. And it's really cool. There's the Tidal Basin, and ba-bam, there you are. The Washington Monument directly across the Tidal Basin. And you can kind of sort of see the Lincoln Memorial. I don't know if I switch it if you can see it any better. It's difficult to get here, but so that's this whole phenomenon known as the Cherry Blossom Festival. Today and tomorrow are the two peak days for blooms, and they'll stay on the trees for a while. But this is when it really, really gets crowded here.
I've been here like 5 times.
I'm sitting here, standing here rather, in the Jefferson Memorial, and it's really a cool friggin' place. They have these big quotes by Tommy Jeff all around the memorial. You know how close I can get if they're readable, but I guess if you're really into reading them, you can maybe you can go to Wikipedia and read them, or maybe you can hit pause on your video player and see what they say if they're not shaking bad enough. But quite a statue of the man. And I'm currently reading a book. I'll actually splice it into the video. I'm reading a book right now called The Hemmingses of Monticello, and it's about the Hemmings family, which of course we know Jefferson fathered a child with one of his slaves, Sally Hemings. Everybody knew this. Everyone acts like it was a huge scandal. I mean, it was the worst kept secret at the time around Monticello. Everybody was fully aware it was going on. So this is quite the monument, though, to a U.S. president. As you can see up in the rotunda, it goes around. We flip there we go. Flip it there and kind of get a panoramic view of the wording around the rotunda. It's going dark, there we go. Moving the camera real fast, because my camera sucks, that's why. So, but quite an impressive monument to the third president of the United States, and a great lover of France. For any of my French friends that are watching this, Jefferson spent a lot of time in France. He was the first Secretary of State, and he really considered France his second home, and came back. He would buy the finest French everything, the best French wines, the best French books. He bought books after books after books, and he actually died in debt, heavily in debt, and a lot of his slaves had to be sold after his death, not because he freed them, but he was just getting rid of, he had to pay off his debt somehow, and a lot of those debts came from France, and came from all of the books that he bought, and all the linens and everything else he bought. So he was a great American, our third president, our first Secretary of State, and a great lover and friend to the people of France. And this is the entrance to, in my opinion, absolutely one of probably the top 3 presidents of all time. The reason I'm a Democrat to this day, and the reason I'll go to my grave as a Democrat, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So we're about to go inside and look at his memorial. Memorial that's not, probably, actually it's the newest of all the big memorials in Washington. And I'm pretty sure this is the only presidential memorial that involves a dog. This was Fala, I don't know how you pronounced it. I mean, you can't read anything about President Roosevelt without reading about his dog. And they were very close. I don't know if the dog was in the White House all, whatever it was, 12 years and a few months that he was. But I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page on Fala. But he was always at the president's side. And I don't know of any first dog that was more famous, and certainly no first dog that was an official part of the president's official memorial as Fala was. And of course, you can't go to the FDR Memorial without capturing his most famous line ever: the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And this was the most controversial part, not controversial, it was a bone of contention somewhat when they were designing the memorial. As we well know, President Roosevelt contracted polio as an adult, and he, the American people, amazingly, most had no clue that he was in a wheelchair. It's kind of weird that an American president could be in a wheelchair and it be kept from the American people. The press corps, obviously, they all knew it. And the original plans didn't necessarily call for him being represented in a wheelchair, but the cripples groups and the groups that support the handicapped, obviously they, and I rightfully so, I support them 100%. I think it's very wise that they demanded that they have some representation of him in a wheelchair. So good for them. So this is the end product of that.